Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs, and today I welcome you guys to another Advanced Wars by Web replay commentary. And today, I'm actually bringing a guest with me on co-commentary. Say hello to Deejus.
Hey everyone, Mangs, thanks for hosting me. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, so Deejus, Deejus is a very highly rated player on the Advanced Wars by Web site. I think you are rated something along the 1300s, right?
Yeah, 1350, thereabout, yeah.
Yeah, I'll show your profile on screen in post-production so people can see like some of your favorite COs and your win-loss record and stuff like that. So, yeah, D just recently started up a YouTube channel where he talks about tips and tricks and hints for Advanced Wars by Web, how to improve your play, which I think is very good because we have some good Advanced Wars content creators on YouTube, but there are very few highly rated Advanced Wars by Web commentators out there that can share their tips and knowledge with the player base. There's a lot of wisdom that is kind of lost in little Discord channels that is never being spread to the public, you know? So I was very happy when I saw, I mean, D just sent me a message on Advanced Wars by Web and he was like, yeah, I'm starting up a channel, you got any tips? And I had a look at his video and I decided to share it to my channel page because I love listening to highly rated people talk about Advanced Wars. Because as I said, there's just so much knowledge that is never shared with most players. And so I figured I'd have D just join me in this replay commentary and check out this tournament game to give me some tips, some pointers, tell me where I went wrong, and maybe I can learn something from the many mistakes I made in this match, of which there are many, I'm sure.
Well, as you said, yeah, I'm happy to fill that knowledge gap. And another thing, the message you sent to Mangs, I didn't expect him to reply, so I was shocked when he said he would coordinate with me and collaborate on a project. So I'm just happy to be here, really looking forward to showing some tips how y'all can improve.
So this is another map from the Mixed Base Open Challenge, hosted by Fujij. I hate that guy's name.
He does that on purpose, I swear.
He's just one giant troll, man. And yeah, I hosted all the games from this tournament on this channel. I was able to win my two first matches. How? I'm not really sure. You guys tell me. And this is the third match, and this is where things get very interesting. Of course, a mixed-based open challenge, it is a tournament that features mixed-based maps, which means the bases are scattered all across the maps. They're still mirrored, as you can see, but the bases are everywhere. And in this third match right here, I'm going up against an opponent named Humpelman. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, he's a pretty high-rated player. I haven't played him myself, but I've seen a few of his games. I think he's around 1300 at least. He's more of a standard player.
Yeah, he is, I don't really know what he means by having 2 burnouts. That's kind of funny that he put that in his signature. But yeah, his rating is 1,348. He's very highly rated. His main CO is Lash. He was playing Max as well. Kindle, too, I see there. So, yeah, he definitely a very strong opponent. And for this match, he picked a very interesting CO. So I did some practice matches with the one and only King Arthur. Did 2 prior to this tournament to test out this map, and we both universally agreed that Drake would be incredibly strong on this map. But my opponent, Humpelman, picked Rachel. So I was very surprised to see this pick because you had some interesting things to say about Rachel in your recent video. You don't like her?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's a polarizing CO for sure. I don't like her, but in this map she's good.
Yeah, okay.
I'll go into that in a bit.
So I'd like to ask you, like, what are your thoughts on this matchup right here, Drake versus Rachel? Who do you think has the advantage on a map like this?
So I think this map is a Drake trap, because it seems like naval units are good on this map, and the lander can actually reach the mech a turn earlier due to the movement bonus. However, you don't really use half the map. Half the map is water, so it's actually quite a small map with a lot of choke points.
Yeah.
So if you look at the mountain ranges around like the top and around the bases, they can be pretty thin. And choke points, Rachel loves choke points.
Yeah, you can illustrate with the mouse if you want.
Sure.
What choke points are you talking about?
So choke points right around here, in the middle here, especially right here in the middle and at this bridge are crucial because you need to overwhelm the space down here.
Yes.
And you need to overwhelm the space over here. And these choke points in the mountains and the bridges can be very difficult to cross. And Rachel loves choke points because typically you have to mass troops up in the choke points and then she can just drop her superpower and do a lot of damage.
Yeah. Now, I will say the reason why I selected Drake for this mission wasn't necessarily because of, like, naval units. I mean, they almost never see play. It was because, of course, this lander will be able to reach this mech one turn earlier, as you said, but it was mostly just due to global damage. On this map, both me and King Arthur agreed that fuel drain would actually be kind of consequential. Because there's not, like, unless you build an APC, you have airports, but your air units have to travel very far. And the lander and any black boats that you might build actually also risk running out of fuel. In one of the matches we played, we actually both lost several units due to fuel crash. So it actually ended up being... So I picked Drake, global damage is always great. But it's not because I had any intentions of building any naval units. But we do start with a cruiser, which is interesting.
Yeah, the thing about the cruiser can be easily avoided by a copter, even if a Drake cruiser, because you can use your lander to block its way to getting to a battle copter.
Yes.
So this, at first glance, this looks like a sea map, but it's really dominated by battle copters. They can have free reign because there's a lot of mountain ranges. Another thing on your point on global damage, I love global damage. I love Drake, but it's only a 2-base map, so there are not going to be that many units on each side.
Yeah.
So global damage isn't effective on smaller maps and maps where there's only 2 bases. So typically this is favoring more of a Rachel, more of an Andy kind of map. Yeah. Although I see your point with the whole fuel thing, I don't think it's enough to compensate for facing off against a strong Rachel or Andy.
Yeah, and I did have a chat with Humpelman after this battle was over, and that's what he said too. Is like, Rachel is insane on this map. So when I first saw it, I was just like, okay, this is weird, but yeah, no, I mean you'll see during the match just how good her superpower ended up being. So yeah, we're just gonna jump into the match here, and if Dejus sees any weird things that he'd like to elaborate on, he's just gonna take over the mouse and show me. So yeah, we're just gonna jump into it. So Humpelman is player 1 here. He's starting in the green. We haven't talked that much about the map aside from the choke points, but this map is incredible. Like, I noticed one thing during my practice matches, and that's the fact that these 2 bases are very exposed. If you can get an artillery into this location right here, or any, like in my case, if you can get like an artillery here, and then put a unit in front of the artillery, it's almost impossible to break it. Unless you're Rachel.
I'm glad you noticed that. That is key.
I can fire missiles, and it's and in both of my practice matches with King Arthur, we saw just how powerful this was. So it's almost like a race where both players will pressure the other person's base.
Oh, definitely.
And but yeah, as you said, battlecopters are also going to be insane here. So yeah. Anyway. So Humpelman opens up with an infantry and immediately starts moving his lander down here. So both players are going to try and fetch their mech, which is on the comm tower, which is already captured, and going to load the mech onto the lander and use the mech to capture. Me being Drake, I'm going to be able to do this 1 turn earlier, but at the end of the day, it's not really going to give me that much. It's just going to give me like 1,000 extra funds to play around with. But still, I mean, every little income counts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I decided to do the same thing. Most of our movements here, I think, are going to be pretty similar here. Obviously, I start with an extra city. What are your thoughts on this? Like, do you not think the extra infantry is enough? Why do you know why some maps have an additional city captured for player 2 at the start of the map?
I think in this instance, and maybe because there's a lab instead of an HQ, just to give additional income.
Oh, right.
I'm not entirely 100% sure since I didn't make the map, but that's what I would lean towards. Yeah, because it does seem a little egregious to have an infantry and an extra city.
Yeah, no, I noticed some maps tend to do this. So yeah, anyway, so I just got to get into this. It's kind of messing with my mind that Humpelman is Green Earth and I'm Drake as Blue Moon. I really need to like try and not be confused by this, but I was like, when I saw him pick Green Earth, I was like, he's totally gonna pick Drake. I don't know. It might.
True, yeah,
it might be a bit of an OCD thing, but I like to have colors match my.
Oh, I'm there with you.
I really like to be Green Earth when I play Drake, which I mean that kind of gives it away. So I guess I shouldn't be like that. So anyway, so here once again, one thing that I noticed in my practice matches is that for player 2, trying to go for any of these 3 properties down here is usually not smart.
You won't be able to hold it, yeah.
You won't be. I tried in my first match and I got obliterated. So what I noticed very quickly is player 2 has an extra infantry, and so trying to rush into the middle immediately with that 1 extra infantry is usually pretty good. So My game plan right here, as you can see right here, the lander is going to arrive 1 turn earlier because of that extra +1 movement that Drake gets. So my game plan right here at this point is to go into the center and get an early game artillery out to try and pressure this base. At least that's what I'm going for. So, as you can see right here, the mech goes into the lander. I'll be able to get that mech out sooner. Humpelman sends his lander down as well. And he actually, so here he actually sends one of his infantry to the north, which I was very surprised.
I wasn't sure if it was a fake out going back to that property, or he's actually going to go for it at the beginning.
Yeah, so when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is very interesting, because this was one of the mistakes I did in my practice match. I was in this position, and I decided to try and hold these 3 properties right here. So when he went for this, I was just like, oh my god, this is fantastic, because I know he won't be able to hold them. So I was almost like contemplating letting him go up here. Because I think he would struggle if he tries to hold those properties. But you'll see what he does on the next turn. So here I decided to go for the airport quickly. Getting some transport copters out can be pretty good on this map. Keep in mind, guys, you know, even though Drake has bad air units, his transports are just as good as any other COs. And here I put my mech out on the harbor. So already I'm kind of warding away his infantry here, but part of me almost thought maybe I can go elsewhere with this to try and goad him into going for these 2 properties, but yeah, well, you'll see.
Pretty ambitious.
Pretty ambitious, yeah. And open up a tank. Tanks are going to be pretty dominant on this map, at least early on, especially if you want to apply pressure in the middle. So here, Humpelman loads his mech up, and he also decides to start going for some of the properties. He also goes for his airport, loads up his mech, puts a cruiser on the harbor. This is extremely important. If not, my lander can actually go and block it. So it was very good on him to recognize that. Not that it's a huge deal, but it can be a bit annoying to have a Drake lander sit on your harbor. It's like you need an artillery to ward it away. And here he does send his infantry away, so it was a fake out, I guess, or maybe he just changed his mind. He just decides to go for this property. So, and here he also responds with a tank of his own. So far I think we've done almost the same. Yep, pretty much. I mean, he's capturing here. I'm going to capture here. Yeah, so we're pretty much mirrored. I'm trying to see where we are different, because we both have two infantry in the center here.
Basically just the top infantry. He went for this higher base up here first.
Right.
And he went stronger middle with the early infantry capping that middle contested property, which I think was actually a smarter move.
Yeah, probably. So, yeah, I continue capping here. I also take this, and I put my cruiser on top of the harbor. Again, he doesn't have the movement to go over here, but I figured, you know, why not just put it there until I'm ready to capture the harbor. I don't really know if there was any point in doing this. And here I decided to aggressively put my tank into the middle. Again, my game plan here is to hold this city and prevent him from taking this city, which I can pretty comfortably do. So at least I'll make sure I'm 1 property ahead of him, which, you know, it's not much, but it will win me the game if I can keep it like that. So, and it does put the pressure on him to try and take this city. So already you can see I have kind of like I guess a tank that is just in a better position than his tank, but he will have plenty of places to move it. So, so here he continues to cap. He goes for the harbor over here, and he also he just decides to start capping here, which kind of surprised me a little bit. And he moves his tank down. So, I thought maybe he wouldn't try to go for it, but he decided to do it. So on day 5 here, I finish capping my harbor. I start capping here. I do the same thing as him. I also cap the northern harbor. And here I build a second tank, because, again, like, tanks are just going to dominate early game. And here I immediately here I go for the early game artillery. So I'd like your thoughts on this early game artillery here. You think that
I like
this...
it.
Yeah, you like it? Because, I recognize in my training matches just how good it is to get an artillery out here.
Yeah, or even the bridge above it, too.
Yeah, so my game plan here is to get this artillery in as quickly as possible and try to lock down his base. And here I decided to, I don't know, I was trying to scare him a little bit, I guess. I don't really know, like, I might as well try and do something with this lander. I think this was mostly just mind games. So here I attack with my infantry. Not entirely sure if this is a good move or not.
I think it's, you know, it can go either way. I don't think it's a bad move.
Okay. And I move my tank up on the city. So basically, I have 2 tanks right here. If he moves in with his tank, to try and attack my tank, I will be able to... Well, these two forest tiles are incredibly annoying, actually, because they prevent the tank from moving into center. And I think that's why they're placed like that. But if he decides to move in to try and interrupt my cap, I will be able to strike him with my tank, and then I have a second tank to follow it up with. So, player 2 definitely has an advantage in the mid map right here. I noticed in several of the games that I played that as player 2, you definitely have a lot of an easier time holding the middle if you want to. So I think player 2 just has a straight up advantage on this map. So here,
yeah, you have a strong beginning.
So here he sends a lot of infantry over here to cap these properties. And I was a little bit surprised by this, that he didn't send them up north, but he sends them to the right. So that leads me to believe that either he just wants to capture all the properties, or he's gonna try some shenanigans with attacking my base. And he attacks back here instead of capturing.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Yeah, you don't think that was a good move?
No, not necessarily. I think he could capture again, and then his infantry would still win that exchange. I think he would slowly be able to move that other infantry to reinforce if he needed to.
Yeah, exactly. So, and here he sends his cruiser again. He just blocks the harbor, making sure that I'm not going to be able to move my lander onto the harbor and prevent the capturing. And he moves his tank into the forests, still not feeling comfortable attacking, just putting up his tanks in a defensive position. And here he builds the recon. And I was very puzzled by this. But it actually ended up being pretty strong, I think. I think the idea behind this recon was to try and delay me from capturing these two cities, since I don't have a tank up here.
Yeah. That's what I would assume, at least. Because the mech's covering the top two properties, so it can't really interrupt there at all.
No. So yeah, my turn rolls in. I finish capping the harbor. I finish capturing the city. So far, we're pretty even. I mean, I'm one property ahead of him because my mech arrived on the shore one turn earlier, and I am player 2. And here I just start capturing this city, and I move in my artillery. I take a shot here, so because he didn't capture now, he's not in position to join cap here, so I will be able to interrupt this, and he won't be able to get it. So my game plan here was just to try and delay him. I'm under no illusions that I'll be able to take this city, but I can prevent him from taking it, because I have this. So that means I'll always be one city ahead of him. And this match did have a timer of 30 days, which I think is the first map that is actually on a timer in this Mixed Base Open Challenge.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, all of the other maps didn't have actually, no. Strike that. There is no day limit, but there's a capture limit. I could have sworn there was a 30-day time limit on this match. I think that might be an error. I swear to God, there was a 30-day time limit on this. Maybe I'm misremembering.
You love the time limits. I know. That's like your style.
That's how I've always played Advanced Wars. I know it's not... I have been convinced that it's not always the best way to play Advanced Wars, but it's how I've always played it. So here I move my lander back. And here I decide to send this tank. Instead of sending it into the middle, I decide to just interrupt his cap. It does...
That's a smart move.
Yeah, you think so? That's good. Okay, all right. So,
as long as you pull back that tank, which you did.
Yes. So here I decide to go for the harbor, and I build another tank. And yeah, I pull it back, because I recognize that here he can move in with these two tanks and attack my tank. A tank on a city can, even if it gets attacked by one tank, it will win the exchange. But if there's another tank, it will lose. So, yeah, I was like, okay, free interrupt. Probably won't be able to kill the infantry, but I can delay his capture for a turn practically for free. So, his turn rolls in, and yeah, here I build a second artillery. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
I don't quite disagree with it. So my point of view is, I'm thinking like in the future, and he's building up tanks in the center. I may have built an infantry here to save up for a medium tank eventually in the center.
Really?
But
okay.
I don't quite disagree with an artillery. I think you could go either way here. But that's just my point of view from this. But I don't think two artillery is bad by any means necessary. I think artillery are certainly strong in the top.
Yeah, so his turn rolls in. He goes for the capture down here in the south, just getting all the properties. Pulls his infantry back, which I was a little bit surprised to see, but I also understand why he did it. He did, honestly, I think he would have been fine just continuing the capture and just having this tank ready to attack.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit cautious here, but I guess he just really wanted to save his infantry. So here actually takes a shot at me, and I think that's I'm pretty sure that was a high roll.
Yeah, that's a high roll for sure.
Yeah, so if we check I love the damage calculator. It is my new best friend. So here you can see that his damage was 12 to 13%. So I don't know exactly. I'm guessing this probably was low too. It was probably in the low 2s. So yeah, but
Yeah.
I was very surprised that this infantry killed my infantry, actually. I think it would have been a lot more... I think it probably should have gone down to 1 HP, but... Oh well. That will happen from time to time. And here he moves his tank onto the neutral property, which I guess is also okay. And he moves in with another infantry. And here comes the recon, yeah. And yeah, this is exactly what he was going to do with it. He moves the recon in to... I guess, like, halt my advance here. He's preventing me from taking the city, which this is pretty smart. And again...
Temporarily, at least.
Yeah, and now, again, you can see we're building up the tanks. There are now 3 tanks in the center, but he also has a 4th tank coming in from the south, so I gotta be careful about that. And he builds a transport, which I was a little surprised by this. I mean, like, I guess... he can try and go for these 2 airports on the side island right here, but I'm going to be able to see it coming. And even though I am Drake, I can still build a battlecopter.
Yeah, another thing, at the beginning of this turn, he builds the tank. I think that's one important thing to focus on. Now he's got a group of 3 tanks. Typically, when I see a group of 3 tanks, I think, like, medium tank immediately.
Really?
I don't like going tank to tank to tank to tank. You want to have some decisive, like, fights in the battle. You want to have, like, a medium tank to basically just push him away.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and yeah, I guess with 30,000 income, as long as you save a little bit, you build some infantry, you should be fine on that. But yeah, that's instead of building the second artillery, as you said, I could have not built that, built an infantry, and had a medium tank ready this turn.
You don't necessarily need it this turn, but the next turn would still be great.
Yeah.
Just as long as when you start seeing bunches of 3 tanks, that's when it's time to tech up and start building medium tanks.
Mm-hmm. So here, I just start moving my infantry down, put an artillery there, so that if he wants to attack my infantry, he'll lose his recon. And I also moved this mech. Actually, ended up being a very interesting mech in this situation. It actually got to do a lot. So there are some pretty cool mountain ranges here that the mech can attack from. So having the mech join in on the attack, I found to be very useful. And here, I just start focusing into the middle. I moved my tank up here. I was a little bit worried I don't actually remember if he ends up attacking me here. I guess we'll find out. And I build another tank. Because again, here it's just tank-on-tank warfare. I mean, that's pretty much standard in non-Fog of War.
And then the artillery, of course. Can't stop the streak.
Third artillery. So, honestly, at this point, I'm trying to recall what I was thinking at this point. I think I was so impressed by how powerful artillery were in this battle that I thought that maybe if I just, like, have 3 artillery in a ball, he's not going to be able to do anything to me. But for a moment there, I think I forgot who I was going up against. The CO that loves artillery balls. So it's... But there is one thing that needs to be said about Rachel's missile. I have a cruiser, which is very expensive. So if I position my cruiser wisely, that could potentially draw away some of her missiles. Because if I remember correctly, the first missile that Rachel fires will target infantry, and then the second missile will target HP, and then the third missile will target value, or something like that.
Exactly.
So at the very least, I can lure away one of the missiles on the cruiser, and it should be, because the cruiser's worth 18,000. So, I don't know if... I know that in Advanced Wars 2, I know that Sturm's Meteor sometimes treats indirects as twice their value. I don't think there's any such mechanics with Rachel's missile.
No, I think they fixed that.
Yeah, okay. Because that is something that's kind of important to know about. So here, he keeps moving into the center. And here he actually attacks. And I was very surprised by this. I think he recognizes at this point how devastating it is to have artillery here. And I think he just wants to... He's actually sacking his recon to slow down this push right here.
Yeah, I don't agree with the move, but I don't think the recon is going to have that much more use anyway, because it's a tank war now at this point.
Yeah, so I think maybe that's his reasoning right here. He just goes, okay, this recon is useless now, I'm just going to sack it to slow down the artillery push. So I think at this point he's recognizing what I want to do. I think the third artillery, if the second artillery didn't cement my strategy, I think the third one definitely did. I think he realizes what I want to do here. So, and here he decides to start capturing. And another tank. I mean, this is just... I mean, there's so many tanks now. So this is gonna blow up pretty quickly. So here I decide to move my mech down to join in on the attack. And I take a shot at his recon. I take a shot, and I get a high roll, which is very nice. And I start capping here. I don't really agree with this. I mean, I guess there's nothing better the infantry can do.
It's
but
temporary, yeah.
It's temporary, but honestly, I probably want to move this infantry away and capture with the healthy one. And yeah.
It's a good meat shield for now, blocking the tank.
And here I decide to attack. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So,
So this part I disagree. I think a lot of the time in Advanced Wars, you prevent a property and it becomes like sunk cost fallacy. Like you've already dedicated so much resource to it and you need to continue doing it. I think you did a great job preventing it in the beginning, but it's time just to like let go. I think you can allow him to have that property. You've probably gained, what, 4,000 in advantage from just preventing him from having it earlier in the game. So I don't think attacking here is a wise move because he's going to have more tanks to reinforce and attack you right here.
Yeah.
And if you had a medium tank, maybe there would be a different story because then you could really attack back and destroy one tank.
Yeah, no, he definitely has the tank advantage here. I think my reasoning was I'll get 2 first strikes here, and I have, but yeah, this tank is not really in any position to follow up on the attack. So yeah, looking back at this, yeah, I don't think this was a very good move either.
And he can reinforce from his base too.
Yeah, he can, and I was like, yeah, actually, yeah, he's in a great position to do that. So yeah, and I move in with another tank, move in my infantry, and build another tank. Again, this medium tank should have been out like 2 days ago. And here I decide to build another tank, because I'm kind of worried. I don't think this tank will move north here, but I think on the off chance that it would, I guess a tank is nice to have. I can't just have artillery. So his turn rolls in. Let's see how he responds to this attack. He pulls back his weakened tank, moves in. Yeah, so he moves in right there. I think that might have been a high roll. Let's consult with our good friend, the damage calculator.
Please do.
This one. So here he had, okay, actually 60 to 69. So I guess slightly high roll.
Nearly 100%, yeah.
Yeah, so in most situations, this should probably have been left at 1 HP, but he rolled pretty high on this one. So that was kind of devastating. I would have really liked to have a 1 HP tank to shield off my other tanks. So here he decides to load his infantry into the transport. This is an incredibly transparent move. I can only imagine he knew that, I mean, I can just build a battlecopter.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's doing this to try and take some pressure off, because he can force a battlecopter out of this, which is 9,000 that is not going to go into the center. I think that was his reasoning, or maybe he just hoped I wouldn't notice. I don't know. Maybe he thought I was an
Better
idiot.
he's flexing. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. So here again. Oof, that is.
Yeah, that's a great engagement right there.
Oh, that is. I have to consult our Lord and Savior to see. So here he had a, yeah, again 60 to 69%, and I had 21 to 25%. And that is exactly what happened. Boom. Oh my god, that is horrible. What happened here? Oh, I haven't updated the terrain. That is what's going on here. Now that is looking more like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, here you can see how consequential the luck roll is in Advanced Wars. I mean, if he had rolled low, I would have been able to do more damage back to him. But either way, it's a good engagement on his end. So yeah, here he's moving hard into the center, blocking off the center with the 2 HP infantry.
Smart move.
Pretty good. And here he builds the rocket. And at this point, I was like, oh my god, what's going on here?
Yeah, at this point, it's like the game's just off the rails. Like I've seen a bunch of other mixed base open games on this map. I had not seen a rocket at that point. I just thought, like, what the hell is going on right now? So now it's just like whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, this rocket, interesting move. I think I had ample opportunities to punish it. You'll see how annoying it becomes later on. So my turn rolls in, and I'm moving in hard here. So I'm capping the city. I'm moving in the artillery here. I'm just straight up moving the artillery in range of his rocket. And my reasoning, I think, the reason why I feel justified in doing this is if he wants to shoot at my artillery, then he can't move his rocket, and he blocks his own base. And then next turn, I'll be able to shoot his rocket with my mech. If he pulls tanks back to attack the mech, he puts the tank in range of this artillery and gives me the center. So that's kind of my reasoning behind this attack right now. So I was very proud of this attack. I thought it was a pretty interesting one. And here I decide to attack him. So kind of like poking him a little bit, but not really committing to anything massive. Also getting a very nice engagement here with the infantry. And here comes the medium tank at long last. That was that would have been very helpful.
Indeed.
Yeah, it would have been very helpful to have that like 2 turns ago, but I mean, better late than never, right?
So before he attacks, I feel like you can pretty easily break through the wall you have right here. So he can take this 5 HP tank, kill this infantry, get a strong attack from the tank off on that artillery, and then obliterate the other artillery with this rocket right there.
Yes.
So it's not that hard to break through. And then, as well, he can also attack the mech with this infantry right here and weaken it. And the other tank can also weaken the mech as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to break through this attack.
But isn't that also, like, isn't he completely conceding the center if he does that?
I wouldn't say conceding, but he's definitely getting a base skip in the center. So at this point, it's kind of screwed if you do, screwed if you don't. But I think that in this situation, I think he might have been a little too aggressive too early in terms of the artillery.
I could have probably waited a few turns to set up this attack and have
with
it be
the medium tank too. Then yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's and here he moves in and takes out my infantry. So that's exactly what he's doing. He's shooting on my artillery with his rocket and moving in his tank. So that kind of hurts. And he's not attacking my mech here. He's just blocking. Blocking with his tank, just keeping that rocket safe. He is base blocking himself, though. So he's not going to be able to build anything from that base. It's not like he's going to lose the money, though, but it just means he won't have another unit ready from the base. And he attacks my infantry. It's a pretty good turn for him. You can see our value is, at the end of his turn, is a lot higher than mine. But, you know, that Typhoon is coming close. That's always going to equalize. So here I build a battlecopter, because I realized that if I don't, I lose the airport. The shoals are positioned in such a way that the cruiser cannot lock down the airport. So the cruiser is not going to bother this battlecopter that much. And keep in mind, I may be Drake, but I have a comm tower. So even though I can't one-shot this transport, I can still deal these. I mean, Drake's battlecopters aren't that bad once you have a comm tower on your side. So here I finish.
Definitely underrated. Yeah.
Yeah. So here I take down his tank. And actually move my infantry into my lander, deciding to actually have the infantry out. Here, my reasoning is, okay, there's a lot of going on here. I might as well try and get a city out of it. I'm probably not going to be able to hold it, but hey, it's just an infantry, right? So
I like the move.
And here, I move my infantry up. I pull my tank from the center and attack here. And move my artillery in the minimum range of his rockets. So now, he doesn't really have... The tank can't come back because it's being blocked by... He will have a 6 HP tank that he can attack with next turn, but that artillery will still be able to inflict quite a lot of damage to the rocket next turn. But his covering fire is coming closer and closer.
It's imminent.
And at this point, I was like, oh my god, will I actually be able to... will I be able to do something before the covering fire hits? I was praying that the covering fire wouldn't hit next turn. So here I
think you made a really smart move here. As you mentioned earlier, this cruiser down here is 18,000 funds, and you also move a mech and infantry and tank in range. So that will draw at least 1 missile over there, if not 2. Yep. So that was a very smart move, drawing away the covering fire from this big, massive artillery and units up here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly what I did it. Why I did it too. I was going. So, however, there is something he can do to mitigate that, and I think I'm not sure if he mentioned this, that he was very upset at himself for missing that. Let's see if he actually decides to do it. So here he decides to go for the airport. Not really going to work out, but I guess it's something he can do. And here he decides to attack me with both of his tanks. The covering fire is looming ever closer. He attacks with his rocket. And here I was like, no, please no more, please no more. Oh my god, it's so close, it's so close. And he decides to attack, and he gets it in the last possible second. And here he pops his covering fire. And I think 2 missiles hit here. And another missile hits... Actually, no. 3... let's see. Yeah. 1 missile hits here, and 2 missiles hit here. But...
You get 1 up north on the infantry up there, thankfully.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So one missile here, 1 missile here, and then 1 missile here. However, he mentioned to me later on while we were discussing the match, he mentioned that if he had moved his lander up here, he's wondering if maybe the missile wouldn't have hit here.
That's a good point, because if you do have your own units in range, it takes that into consideration when deciding the missiles. I think, yeah, if you moved it to the shoal right here, right in the center of all of these units, I think it might have rerouted it maybe towards the medium tank maybe towards this bunch up here. So that is one missed opportunity for sure.
For sure. But still, I mean, this missile was still very devastating. I mean, it still hit.
Oh, yeah.
I still have a 7 HP artillery here, though, but, well, not anymore. So, yeah, now my push is pretty much shut down. And here he comes with a battlecopter as well. And now he's even starting to move up here in the south to try and start pushing me here. So he's really hitting the gas here. And yeah, another battlecopter again. Battlecopters are so strong on this map. They're so, like even here, there's so many mountain ranges for them to dart back and forth between. So yeah, our battlecopters are insanely strong. However, look at this. 106,000 value, 74,000 value. Boom! Typhoon, baby. It's such a good equalizer. I mean, it's such a good...
I can tell you love doing that.
Ah, I love it. It's so good. So, and here, boom, I take out his transport. You know, so that's not going to work.
And if you didn't have that Typhoon there, he would have been able to capture that base over there. Because you wouldn't have been able to one-shot the T-Copter, and you'd have to go around and get in cruiser range. So it was very crucial that you had the Typhoon on that same turn. Or else you would have captured it, or you would have lost the Copter.
So here, I do believe, I remember being annoyed at something that happened this turn, but I don't remember exactly what it was. I think I ended up making a pretty big mistake on this turn.
Perhaps it was firing with this artillery instead of moving it.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So I want to show exactly. Yeah. So thank you. That was exactly it. So here I did a very big mistake, and I noticed this right after firing. So here I have this artillery right here, but I have a healthy tank. So what I could have done is I could have moved this artillery away. Yeah, okay, so this is actually, yeah, so this is what I should have done. I don't know if can we use the move planner? Is that a thing we can use? Can I show, because I want to...
Yes, you can.
Yes, so here's the move planner. It's a pretty good tool. So what I could have done is I could have moved the artillery away somewhere.
And then I just moved it back one, actually.
Yes.
And still be in range of the base.
Yes, so I wanted, so, and then if the mech attacks, and this tank attacks, and these two shoot. So shoot, attack. I might have been able to kill it.
You would have definitely been able to kill it, yes.
And then this tank could have come in and hit the rocket.
This is pre-Typhoon as well, so they're going to get 2 damage done.
Yes. So I would have been able to smash that rocket and probably pushed him pretty hard. So
yeah, this was definitely an important turn.
So if I had just moved this artillery away, I would have killed this tank, and probably, I mean, this rocket, let's go back to the Typhoon. So, yeah, no, definitely. This mech hits this tank, these two artillery, we start with these two artillery hits the tank, probably gets it down to 4 or 3. This mech attacks, this tank comes in, probably reduce, we can check the damage calculator to see how much it would have done. Probably a lot. Yeah, 67 to 73%, so there's a chance it probably would have died. Or probably would have been left with
devastating.
1 HP. So I remember looking at this and just going, oh my god, this would have been so good. and I have a medium tank shutting down the center as well. So, I mean, he has a pretty scary push here, though. But I think this would have been a game-winning move, honestly, if I'd pulled this artillery back. But instead I shoot with it for some reason and block off my own tank. And I get a nice shot with my mech on his rocket, but it's not enough to, like... It's not enough to, like, make it not threatening. But I am not... I mean, in the center here, it's not going great, but the medium tank is about to arrive. I don't really know why I'm surrounding his lander here. I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I just
Hostage.
I just wanted to do something, man. But yeah, and I said I have to get an Umpire out. But the problem with Umpire on this map is that, like, these battlecopters, it'll never catch them.
Yeah, they can weave in and out of those mountains super easy. That's why it's such a strong copter map.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. His turn rolls in. His battlecopters are coming in as well. He finally moves his rocket out. And he interrupts my capture as well. I thought I was going to get that. And he takes out my artillery. 3 1 HP artillery right now, not really doing a whole lot. And he builds a mech, and honestly, that's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to build a tank or anything like that. And here comes the battlecopters, and they're just going to be so devastating. You know, and the fact that this rocket also still lives at 9 HP when it could have been dead It's really frustrating to me. And here, no, he didn't build a cruiser. He waited with it. I was like, what? I don't remember this.
Some people like just using every single unit and make them wait every turn.
I do that because...
Maybe they're robots. Oh, you do that. Okay.
I do that because I'm terrified that I might have missed a
OCD?
unit. Yeah, I have to make sure there's no more units on the map that hasn't moved, you know? So here, I interrupt his cap. He's not going to get that. I continue capping over here, and I keep shooting with my 1 HP artilleries. You know, why not? I even take a shot at his tank with my mech here. I move in, and here I start to... I keep pushing. I mean, I have to keep pushing. I mean, I'm kind of committed to this right now. I even attack his mech and move in with my tank right here. But of course, he has a... You know, if you look at the money that he has available to himself right now, and he's going to be able to put out a medium tank next turn. And my medium tank is showing up in the center right here. But so here, I don't know what I was thinking here.
Yeah, so maybe you were thinking to use it as a decoy, but at the same time, if you wanted it as a decoy, you put it on a city right here.
Yeah, I don't know why I just didn't put it here. I'm trying to think what...
Or even in range at all. Yeah.
It's not like I forgot about the rocket. I definitely was aware of the rocket. I think my thought pattern was, if he shoots on the medium tank, he doesn't shoot on any... I don't really know what I was thinking here. I think maybe my rationale was that he would use the rocket to interrupt the cap. But
okay.
It's much better to use the rocket against the medium tank.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not really... I guess at this point, I was just... The frustration was kicking in, I guess.
I think you had a little bit of... you got a little feisty with the anti-air over here. You're already popping out 2, and he's only got 2 copters. So at this point, I think 1 anti-air and you have your own copter would be sufficient to kind of shut down 2 of his copters. I don't think you need 1 anti-air per copter.
I'm also moving my anti-air in range of his tank, which is not great.
Exactly.
And here he comes in, now he's pushing in hard on my southern cities here. He gets the shot with his mech, so these cities are actually in danger here. And he's actually pushing pretty hard with these 3 infantry units, and I have to do something. I do have an anti-air, but he also has an artillery coming. And we've seen how devastating artillery can be on this map. So if that artillery gets into position, it's going to be very tough for me to do something about that. So here, yeah, I was very frustrated about this. I don't know why, like, what the hell I was thinking. At this point, I think I was very frustrated about this push and very frustrated about the fact that I could have killed the rocket. I think at this point, I was, like, again, once frustration starts hitting in, you start doing a lot of stupid shit. I think at this point...
another thing to say about anti-air, a lot of people, they use it as, like, an attacking mechanism. I think it should be more used for zoning, keeping all your units protected from copters, not necessarily throwing it out towards the front, killing infantry and mechs. I think you should typically hold it back and save it for just zoning.
Absolutely. And, yeah, so here he even attacks my... Like, again, this is just devastating. I mean, at this point, the match is pretty much lost. But I decided to keep going for a few more days. Again, it really all came...
You just can't stop that medium tank. It just... Nothing can kill it.
Yeah. So here, the medium... That is kind of like the medium tank that sealed the defeat right now. Had I had healthy artillery here, I could have done something, but all these artillery just... They don't do anything anymore. Now, I am still ahead quite a bit, actually, in terms of properties. 19,000 to 16,000, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, one thing I've definitely learned as of late is that an income advantage means very little when your opponent has better positioning and better value than you.
Exactly.
Like, it looks good to see that but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm only making a couple more thousand than him each turn. And he has way better positioning and way better army composition than me, so it doesn't really matter. I attack with my anti-air here. Here, I finally get to shoot this rocket, but it doesn't really matter, because that rocket kind of has done its job at this point.
Then the anti-air fever continues. 3 anti-air for 2 copters, and you have your own copter, too.
I think the reasoning... I think I was building the anti-air to stop this push, but I think a recon would have done the job. But then he also has a tank here, so...
Yeah, I don't quite understand.
I
you were like on a lot of streaks. You like build 3 artillery in a row. You build 3 tanks in a row. Now it's 3 anti-air. You know what I mean? Like
the power of 3.
The power of the 3.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's been a winning strat. Here it comes in. I comes in with a 4th artillery as well. I don't want to let up, man. I still think I could somehow win this. But yeah, no,
I like your optimism.
Yeah, no, he's now comes the killing blow. I mean, now the battlecopters have arrived, and you can see, just look at the positioning of this battlecopter. Like, my anti-air can't reach. It's just perfect. But also, like, pay attention to its fuel. Like, as I said, like, if I pop Tsunami right now, it's going to drop down to 15 fuel, which means that if he moves it around anymore, it's actually going to crash, which is kind of funny. But now he's capping the cities over here, moving in the battlecopters, building another infantry. And yeah, it's not going too well for me. And here it comes. That's the positioning right there. That's
what you were trying for the whole game, yeah.
That was what I was trying for the whole game, and he ended up being able to do it against me. So this is such an annoying position to be in, because if I want to attack his infantry, I take damage from the artillery. But if I move the artillery, if I move the anti away, he'll get to shoot on whatever I build in the space. I don't even know what unit you can build to stop this. A mech?
Yeah, you're gonna need something big to take the hit from the artillery, I suppose.
Yeah,
medium tank probably.
Medium tank is probably the only thing. But then I still have to waste a turn attacking the infantry and blocking my own base.
You need to bring down that tank or the anti-air from up there for reinforcements to actually get to the artillery as well.
Yeah, it's incredibly strong. And here he builds another battlecopter. I popped my Tsunami here, mostly just to spite him. It's like a I don't know, middle finger Tsunami, I guess. As you can see, fuel does actually start to be a concern for air units on this map, but it's not enough to do anything meaningful at this point. So here I start to attack him, but I built it.
Why not? It makes up for you building all those tanks earlier. Now you're going all big units.
I had enough, right? And I was like, why not? Let's just see what it can do, you know?
Bring on the golf ball.
Yeah. But I'm also doing something horrible here. I'm placing the air. This is just awful. Like, at this point, I have lost. So let's just let this be over so we can analyze the match. I mean, it's just... Yeah, I'm trying to make something happen here, but at this point, like, it's definitely lost. We have another covering fire coming in. Once that comes in, it's gonna seal pretty much the fate of this match. I think he gets it too this turn. Pretty sure he gets it. He's definitely trying to get it. Will he actually end up getting it? Yes. And he pops it, and boom. That is the superpower that seals the fate. And I do believe the next day is the day that I end up resigning. Yes. I love the replay function of the site, man. The best. So yeah, again, like, I don't know if you saw something revolutionary there, but
revolutionary. I don't know about that. I think you played pretty damn well. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not trying to suck up or anything. I think you played pretty damn well, and I'd argue that you played better than your first two games, even though those were wins. This is a stronger opponent. Yes. Oh. I think there was no in between. There was like very good moves, and then there was very dumb moves. You know what I mean? Like, I really liked how you drew the missiles using the cruiser. That was like a smart move right there. But at the same time, putting the medium tank in range of the rocket, thrusting the anti-air out there.
Yeah.
But there was definitely some, like, I think you definitely had winning chances. If you played as Rachel, I think even if you played the same way, you had pretty strong winning chances right there. Yeah. And as you said earlier, that earlier push on the rocket where you didn't move the artillery, that also could have been game-changing.
Yeah, if I'd actually taken out his rocket. You know, I mean, like, this looks pretty bad, but even here, I had like, this was like the big moment of the match right here. And yeah, I think if I had picked Rachel as my CO, yeah, I probably could have won this if I had done the exact same.
Or even Andy, you know.
Andy, I recently played a match against Andy as Rachel, and I got my ass kicked so hard it wasn't even funny. Like he really hard counters for superpower. It's insane.
Oh yeah, especially in fog. Like, it's not even fair. I think Rachel would put up a good fight against Andy here because she has the momentum. She'd pop her superpower, then she'd attack and kill what she can before he uses his turn. But at the same time, he would have been still a lot better than Drake in this situation. I think Drake and, like, Kindle are probably near the bottom tier. In Lash, I think it's just, like, Andy and Rachel on this map, like 100%, with Rachel, like, rising to the top.
Yeah, so absolutely. So after I did the mistake, after this strange move where I don't move my artillery away, do you think I still had a chance? I'm trying to find the moment where I did the big mistake. Do you still think here? This is the important turn on turn 11. After this mistake where I didn't move the artillery away, do you still think I had a chance of victory here, or do you think that sealed my defeat?
There's a few things I would have done differently. So, assuming if you got lucky enough, I think there'd be some rolls involved to kill this off with the mechs and the artillery, to be honest. So, it's not a 100% kill. You can pull this back and actually kill that with the tank, then attack with the mech as well. But the thing I think also is you took some like easy kills on infantry with the medium tank when you needed it most up here in the center.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not doing a whole lot over there. Yeah,
a lot of the time it's tempting to get free kills, but it's really not doing anything like a recon could do the same thing it's doing down there. So I think having a medium tank earlier would have been crucial in this match, in the center, and really like pushing him back and really like saying like you're not getting this property right here. And also just it was out of position.
Yes.
So I think that was also a major part.
Absolutely.
I think your tactics were very smart, though. I like that you were trying to get him to base skip by keeping the rocket there. I mean, I think the rocket was a mistake on his part in the first place.
Yeah, it was a very weird move.
I was like, what?
If he had saved... I think, honestly, like, when he built it, I think he had 15. I think he had enough for the rocket, but not a medium tank. I think he wanted to build a medium tank.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, he just wanted to spend every last dollar or advance words, coin or whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, the rocket was a strange move for sure. If he had just gotten a medium tank out sooner, he would have shut down the push really hard.
But yeah, if you had the same position with Rachel, I think you definitely had some good winning chances.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to say it was decided by the COs at the beginning of the game, but this is one of those games where COs played like an outsized role in the match itself, you know?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind for the next round. I mean, we don't know what kind of maps are going to come up, but nor do we know what tiers for just as planned, but I definitely will remember in future tournaments if there are choke pointy maps. I will definitely give Rachel a try over a CO like Drake, for example. So
yeah, and this is just also a small map. Like this portion up here, you're not really going to do anything on this portion. So it's really just that center portion is the map, and it is tiny.
Actually, in my first practice match that I played against King Arthur, there was a lot of action happening on the islands. Actually, I was able to snatch his comm tower. There was like a lot of black boat plan, blocking black boats and trying to ferry infantry onto the... We both played this Drake, and it was... I'm probably gonna host that. I'm gonna make a replay commentary of that practice match at some point. This was actually really good.
That sounds really interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, I think if both players decide to start going for comm towers, you can definitely see a lot of cool plays here. But yeah, I think in most tournament matches where both players play optimally or not like fooling around, I think it's definitely going to be like a rush for the center. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could take the middle if you're doing black boat shenanigans off on the side. Like, you just take the base even earlier with the artillery push that you did, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think I think we pretty much analyzed the biggest mistake of the match, as you will, and seen where it went wrong. And after that, it was honestly just downhill from there. I don't like how many stupid mistakes I made, but again, frustration sets in pretty heavily, especially I think there was like 30 people watching the match in real time.
Oh god.
It was really hectic.
Were you doing like real time, like back and forth?
Like I forced myself to slow down a lot and look at the map, but yes, we were playing mostly in real time, and there were a lot of spectators. So like the nerves were really hitting in. I'm sure he had a lot of nerves as well, but after I realized I could kill the rocket, I was so frustrated. And when you're frustrated, you want to play faster because you want to try and win. It's a really big slippery slope.
Snowballs.
You snowball, and it's just like you make mistake after mistake, and you get more frustrated. And it's just you got to slow yourself down in that situation. Like force yourself to think 5 minutes before making a move, even if the move is super obvious.
I think the move planner does a great job at that. Move planner forces you to like, okay, what am I going to do in this situation? Basically, move planner plus damage calculator is like your best friend.
And the move planner also has this wonderful tool where you can literally see where the missiles are going to hit, and I did not use that enough. So that's definitely something I got to keep in mind for the next match.
Yeah, I'm curious what it would have done if the lander moved down there. I think it would have basically shifted the missile somewhere else.
Probably would, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I feel like we've analyzed this match enough. It was really fun to have you on.
Well, thanks for having me, Mangs. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, and if you guys want to go check out some more Advanced Wars by Web videos, go check out DJ's channel. I'll throw a link in the video description. Sure, we're going to see each other again on this channel. It was nice to have someone who really knows what they're talking about look over the match. And it was very educational for me, probably for the people watching as well. So, guys, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe for more Advanced Wars content. Go check out DJ's, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.